Welcome back to London Gateway with part 2 of Shipping TV's special report on Britain's newest major seaport, around 8 months after it first opened. This time we're on the quayside, where it's a very different and almost alien world. It isn't a very friendly place for insignificant humans. There aren't many about. At Gateway you don't see many vehicles here either, and containers rarely land here. You'll see why later. The ships are in scale with the giant cranes, but this one isn't among the largest. ER Denmark weighs in at around 65,000 tonnes, 1/3 of the gross tonnage of the world's largest container ships, and can carry a maximum of 5,762 TEU. But the cranes here are amongst the world's largest. They can load and unload the biggest container ships afloat, and are said to be the only cranes in the UK routinely using tandem lift spreaders to lift or load 2 40-foot or 4 20-foot containers at a time. If you have the slightest fear of heights, standing at gantry level, looking down through a pierced metal deck will give you a very interesting moment. But you have to admit, the views are amazing. The work that the cranes do is simple, lifting and lowering boxes on and off the vessel. It's straightforward, but the scale is massive and the background complexity is difficult to comprehend. Each container has to be stowed aboard the ship in a location where it can be taken off at its destination without needing to move other boxes to get at it. So the loading plan for each leg of the trip has to fit in with all the subsequent legs and all the following ports. All of the information the crane crews need is delivered to them on computer screens, of course, and each box has unique identifying marks. At some ports, some members of the crane teams work on the ground, fitting or removing lashing system components, twist locks, to the containers, but here each crane has a lashing platform where this work is done. So it goes on the lashing platform. Although London Gateway won't talk directly about their crane performance figures, it's very clear that their confidence in their ability to compete on cargo movement is increasing. Their quayside operations, like the landside interfaces, look smooth and slick, and the people you talk to around the site have confidence in their own ability to do the job. Incoming containers, as soon as their lashing components are off, are dropped down directly onto the quay behind the crane. With space for 6 rows of boxes here, this means that the cranes can operate at their full cycling speed, rather than sometimes having to wait for trailers to carry off the boxes. Straddle carriers shuttle the boxes to the stacks, again just dropping the box rather than having to wait for a lift-off. Each stack's seaward ASC then positions the box in the stack to await collection by truck or rail onward transport, as we saw in part 1 of this special. London Gateway's straddle carriers are presently equipped with semi-automated systems to make Hadley containers fast and safe. It'll be fascinating to see just how DP World London Gateway progresses over coming months and years. The port looks to be in a fairly strong position against its main direct competitor, Felixstowe, essentially because it has 2 fully operational ultra-large container ship berths with plenty of available slots before it becomes congested. Its 3rd berth has a complete quay wall and ship-to-shore crane track quay, although it looks as if Gateway's management will let the business climate and perceived customer demand trigger work on completing the stack yards and shoreside facilities for berth 3. But they could probably have the third berth fully operational within a year to 18 months and start work on the second 3-berth phase of the port at any point. Most people in the port industry acknowledge that DP World is playing a long game on UK port development. The major trade recession we're coming out of now has meant that London Gateway hasn't got off to as fast a start as it was originally intended to. But it does mean that it's having to compete harder in boardrooms around the world, and its growing operational expertise, combined with its business hunger to make the port a major success, will make Gateway a fiercer competitor for the UK's established ports into the future. We'll have more on the UK's port and shipping industry when we have it on Shipping TV.